Hey NYC, if I haven't gotten to meet you, my name's Angela Elam, which is so weird for me to say, but I'm one of the leaders here, and I absolutely love NYC. I've been here for a long time. Like Brie and Brenda were some of my leaders, and so that should tell you something. But I'm recently married, which is why it's weird for me to say my different last name, and we have a baby on the way, and so that's super exciting. One thing I've learned with expecting a baby is how I'm awful at waiting. I'm awful with being patient. I don't like it. Not a fan. Like growing up, I always knew I was kind of bad at waiting. Like you know how girls will get this. You know how whenever you're growing up, like you can't wear makeup until a certain age. So like I had this lip gloss and I would put it on my eyes as like eyeshadow to try and like be older and like I am wearing makeup even though I wasn't allowed to. And with who is now my husband, when I liked him when we were younger, he wouldn't tell me if he liked me back. So I kind of chased him across a field, telling him he had to tell me if he liked me back. Just because waiting stinks. Waiting for someone to tell you something, waiting for a test result, waiting to get old enough to be able to do something like drive or get a job or go to college. Like sometimes it's just difficult and it's hard. And that's what we get to talk about today is just how even though waiting is hard, there's a purpose in waiting. There's a point to why we have to wait for certain things, to be a certain age, or to get to a certain point in our growth. And so diving right into that, my first point is there's a purpose in preparation. Because there's a point to waiting and there's a point to being prepared. You have to be prepared when going into something. It's not smart, it's not wise to just dive head on and not know any details, and it can get us hurt. Even thinking of if we were like, okay, I just found out we can go get a puppy. And it was like, we can all drive right now to go get a puppy, and puppies are so cute. And if that doesn't sound fun to you because you don't like puppies, you're just a little crazy because puppies are adorable. But if we went and we got a puppy and it was so exciting, and we're like, so excited, we're driving, we're jamming out, and we go and get the puppy, and we're so excited, we're thinking of names for him, and we get home, and then we realize puppies are expensive. We just spent $1,000 on this dog. We don't have money to get this puppy food. We don't have a cage for the puppy, and they're not potty trained, so then they're peeing and pooping all over your house. You don't have toys for them, so they're chewing up all of your stuff. And they're running everywhere ballistic because you weren't prepared. We didn't think about it. We just dove head on. We were just like, we're going to go do this. We don't need to think about the vet or the food or money or anything. We just want to go do it. And that's why it's so dangerous to not be prepared. And even in the Bible, in Proverbs 22, verse 3, it says, the prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it. People who are super aware think to be prepared. They're looking ahead. And so they see things that are going to happen and they know, I need to prepare, I need to hide from that danger. But other people that are just moseying along and like, I'm not going to look for things, I'm just going to do life as I want it, jump off a cliff, like it's dangerous. And you get further down the line and you get hurt. And later in Proverbs, in chapter 24, verse 27, it tells us again, prepare your work outside. Get everything ready for yourself in the field. And after that, build your house. So be prepared. That's what it's telling us. It's saying, hey, think if you got to redecorate your room, your parents told you, you can redecorate your room, but you didn't ask, how much money do I have to redecorate my room? What stores are you going to let me go to get stuff to redecorate my room? You don't have any of the other facts, so you just start moving stuff around in your room. You're ripping your clothes out because you're thinking, oh, I'm going to redecorate that and everything. And then you just have a mess because you didn't think of the timing. You didn't think of, oh, I need to break to go get dinner. Like, oh, stores close at this time. So they're telling us, hey, look on the outside. Look at the equipment you have. Look at the knowledge that you have. Take all of these things into account and then get to the exciting stuff. Because a lot of times whenever we think of waiting, we just think, oh, like God just doesn't want us to be happy. Jesus just wants to keep us from all of these exciting things to do. And that's not the case. Jesus loves what we love. He loves us being excited and being passionate. Which brings us to our next point, that there's a purpose in patience. A lot of times we get so passionate and we don't think about being patient and just slowing down. We don't think of the timing. And we completely throw that out the door, and it can hurt our relationships and our friendships too. Even people who are planners and they're like, yeah, but I'm prepared. Like I get prepared before things, but we lack patience. We hate having to wait for things. From people that are spontaneous to people who like all the details, all of us hate patience at some point. And in Song of Songs, or Song of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 4, it says, promise me, O women of Jerusalem, not to awaken love until the time is right. She's warning us, hey, don't try to stir this thing before God has said you're ready. Because that can end in heartbreak. Not just love in relationships, but love in friendships. A love for a job or a passion. A passion to go to college, a passion to chase down your dreams. Even if it's you have a passion to play video games, so you just want to do that all the time, and you neglect your homework. And so we just lack patience, and we want to get to where we get to be and get to do everything that we want, and we forget our surroundings because we're not ready. A lot of times it's like, I really don't want to wait to have a boyfriend. I really don't want to wait to have a girlfriend. And we lack patience in those areas. So we push forward and we're like, well, that person looks good. And so we go and we try to push for a relationship there when maybe neither of you are really ready for a healthy relationship. Maybe you didn't love yourself enough to love someone else. And that shines through in even your friendships. You weren't close enough to God and growing in your relationship with Him enough, so your other relationships are failing. And because of that lack of patience, we end up heartbroken and we end up breaking other people. And then we have to deal with those consequences later on. And it's all because we weren't okay with waiting. We weren't ready. And sometimes our parents even warn us about that. But we want to ignore our parents because we want to do what we want to do. We want to make our own decisions. It's like in Finding Nemo. Whenever Marlin tells Nemo, you're not ready for this. Like you think you're ready to do these things, but you're just not, Nemo. And then Nemo goes, he touches the butt, spoiler alert, he gets kidnapped. And Marlin has to go and save him. And it takes forever and it's this long journey just because Nemo wouldn't listen to his dad. Just because he didn't want to listen to his father. He wanted to do his own thing. He wasn't willing to wait. And that's just so dangerous. And it can be so selfish. And it makes everything just so hard. And again, it's not just for love. It's not just in a relationship or even just with your friendships. But when you think about, well, I really want this job when I get older. I'm so ready to go to college. But if you're so focused on that, you miss so much else in your life. You can neglect relationships. You can neglect your homework. You can miss the memories that you have the opportunities to make in school, in band and in choir and in sports, in theater. You can let everything pass you by because you're so focused that you don't want to wait anymore. You don't want to wait to get to that point that seems so perfect. But then you get to that point and you're just waiting for the next thing and you're never satisfied. A lot of times we're just never satisfied. It never seems like enough. And so there has to be a point in waiting. There has to be a point in being prepared for everything that you're looking forward to. If you're like, okay, I can't wait to go to college. Okay, maybe then think about your scores with your homework. Think about the clubs and the friends that you want to make. Maybe even think about, okay, maybe these are friends that I'll get to go to college with. That could be fun. Think of, how do I need to grow spiritually to be a mature person, to live on my own? What job do I maybe need to do? And a lot of times planning doesn't sound exciting. Having patience doesn't sound exciting. But there's such a joy and there's such a point to it, because when you get where you're wanting to go, you're set. It's so much fun to feel prepared. It's good to get there and get to enjoy everything because you don't feel overwhelmed and stressed and weighed down. So that's why we have to remember there is a point in preparation. There's a purpose in preparation. And there's a purpose in patience. And above all of that, there's a purpose and a point to waiting.